Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel.
It's Brittany, bitch.
Today, I'm gonna be talking about all the books that I read in January. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty impressed with myself that I read at all, especially after moving across the country. And it has just been very stressful. So, you know what, the fact that I even read 5 books to me is huge. So please ignore my cat like staring out into nothing, like a truck ran by. No, she's on edge. Oh, she's meatloafing. So I decided to do something a little bit different, and I might keep doing it this way, and I've done it before, but I basically filmed every single time that I finished a book, and I gave you my thoughts on it. Instead of doing it all in one comprehensive video, I just feel like that's way too much work for me personally to edit one very long video instead of a bunch of shorter videos, because I can edit them like as it comes, and I just find it easier. Which is why I tend to like reading vlogs, but I also really love wrap-ups, and I love other people's TBRs and stuff like that. So especially with the wrap-ups, I thought that would be a good idea to try this, and it was definitely a lot easier for me to edit throughout the month so I can actually get it out to you in a more timely manner. The reason you're getting this actually 2 days later than I expected is that I finished my last book this morning. Without further ado, we're just gonna run into some of the clips, and you're gonna see all the books that I read in the month of January. So the first book that I ended up reading this month, which was a shocker to me, was Sweet Tea and Sympathy by Molly Harper. And I felt like this was going to be more of a Sweet Home Alabama theme, and I guess it definitely was, but I feel like I just connect better to that movie than I do to this book. Even though I do love the cover, I liked the theme of this. I gave it only 2.5 stars, and I was really hoping for something a little bit better, but I guess it did also take me a week to read this. And I'm not saying that just because it was a week I didn't like love it, but usually when I really like books that are pretty short like this, I get through them a lot quicker. But I guess it's not always true. I don't know, just an assumption. So our main character, Margot, she is like an event planner in Chicago, and there's like this giant blunder that happens with a bunch of flamingos and someone allergic to shrimp. And it was a very funny beginning, and I really liked it. And then her like long lost Aunt Tootie invites her down to Georgia and gives her a job. And that's how the whole story starts off. And I really liked the beginning. I really liked the first half, and then the second half just got way too into the romance, which I was not feeling anyway. So we have a romance between Margot and then another character named Kyle, who's a widower and has 2 girls, and I just was not feeling the romance at all. I mean, I just don't feel romance for a lot of people in general anyway. Like, I just have a hard time connecting to romance in books. Sometimes I really need a terribly written young adult triangle to like love the characters. I don't know. This was a beautifully healthy relationship that had its own issues that they know about and they're working on. I can appreciate that. I just didn't feel the chemistry. It didn't really work out for me. There is a lot of books in this series. So this is the Southern Eclectic series. And when I looked it up online, there's a lot of like 0.5s, and there's like a third and second book, whatever. But they don't follow just these characters, so they follow other people in the town and then have them fall in love with someone else or whatever. I might actually pick those up because I liked a lot of the supporting characters. Like Frankie, she's like the undertaker and Margot's cousin, and she was really funny and weird, and I really liked her energy, and I would definitely read a book about her. And I think the second or third one maybe was about her falling in love with like a sheriff from out of town or something. So I might pick those up. I definitely might. I didn't hate her writing style. I just really wanted to feel more out of this book. I didn't feel anything. I really wanted to feel for the characters. And I think that's what kind of put me in a reading slump, as I haven't cared for a long time, like 3-4 months maybe. I haven't really cared about characters or reading or any of that. So I think that's why I was hoping this would pull me out of that, but it didn't. What my cat, she doesn't do anything all day. She literally just sleeps in my bed all day while I work. And then if I let her sleep in here at night, she just sleeps in here all night too. She's just obsessed with my room ever since we moved, and I just don't know why. Wake up, Kalinka. Say hi. You've been sleeping all morning. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Kalinka. Are you tired from watching me work all day? I can't even get her to stay awake for 5 freaking minutes. Wakey, wakey. Come on, show everyone your teeth. Ready? Very nice. Oh, I'm touching your butt. Do you like that? She doesn't. She doesn't like that. Say hi to everybody. You can go back to sleep. Oh, touching your butt again. See you, bye. So it's Friday night, so we're having sushi. So we actually got California rolls that have soy wrap, which is weird, but just trust me, it's actually way better than it sounds. And then those are mine. Then we have baked salmon roll, a scallop. What is that roll? Scallop? I don't know. It's like fried little scallop pieces on top of a California roll, basically. And then a crunch roll, which I have no idea what the hell is in here, but it looks yum. And then Tropic Berry Sprite. That's what I'm talking about. And that's gonna be Friday night's dinner. It has been a very long week, but I managed to finish My Sister the Serial Killer, and I gave it 3 stars. This book follows Coretta and her sister the serial killer. We're hearing everything from Coretta's experience and her perspective of taking care of her sister. And as an eldest sibling, I completely understand where she's coming from in the amount of responsibility you feel for your siblings. Except that none of mine are murderers, so I mean, as far as I know. I read this about a day, so it was a pretty quick read for me. It's only like 230 pages anyway, but I think it was a perfect book to kind of get me back up to speed with my Goodreads challenge, and I enjoyed it. I liked it. It was good. I kind of wish it went in different directions and went a little deeper into certain relationships and plot points, which I would have liked to see play out more. And I kind of didn't love the ending. I just feel like so many things were a little unfinished for me, but it's also because I definitely resonated with our main character and how she's always taking care of everyone else and her siblings, and she's very neat and tidy, and she's always trying to take care of everything as best as she can. I mean, obviously she kind of goes in the past and her life experiences and why she kind of is the way she is and her family is the way it is, but I mean, I can't relate to that, but like her being very anal about how things are, and especially at work, like things should be a certain way, especially working in a hospital. I completely understand that she's very anal retentive about how things are being done, which I understand completely and I totally resonate with. So a lot of times I resonate with her and I really liked her as a character. At the same time, I felt so frustrated with her sister, which she felt too. And I like that this book made me feel something. I like that I felt frustrated. I think we've all known someone like her sister who just gets away with murder, okay? Literally gets away with everything. It's always like that coworker that's too lazy, just you're always covering for, or you have a sibling or a boyfriend or a parent or anyone. But I mean, in terms of covering for someone for like a lifetime and always taking care of them responsibilities wise, it reminded me of so many coworkers I've had. Like personally, I've just had so many who cannot take care of things themselves. And I felt like I just resonated so well with this concept because you're constantly cleaning up after someone. And that's what she does. I don't want to spoil it. It didn't end the way I would like. I was hoping for more of a twist. I feel like the first half of the book was very enticing, and then the second half got a little predictable and plotty for me, and I just would have rather it kind of twisted a little bit and gotten weird. I think this book could have deserved it, and I think it could have been a smidgy longer. It was a 3 stars for me, but you know what? I'm on to the next one. The next book that I read was Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. And this was a 2 stars for me. Maybe a 2.25. I don't really know. I was just severely unimpressed, to be quite honest. And I had such high expectations for this. So in this book, we're following Macy and Elliot. This book moves between the past and the present, what happened like 11 years ago, and the present now whenever they meet and their lives move forward. Both of the timelines bothered me for multiple reasons. In the past, the dialogue is like so cringy and awkward, and I don't know if she's just trying to emulate teenagers, but like even as a teenager, I feel like certain things were just very cringy, and there's just a lot of weird, cringy, overly sexual conversation between the two of them, and it's just, it's weird. So this whole setup is Macy's mom dies when she's younger, and so her dad buys them a getaway house up in wine country, and then that's how she comes to meet Elliot. Elliot's family lives next door and lives there permanently, so whenever they go up for their getaway on the weekends or for holidays, whatever they want to do, she'll see Elliot. And they both have a love of reading, and they read in her closet, which is like a big little mini library. I don't know. I'm gonna put this down now, my arm is hurting. It was just so like cringy between the two of them, like their relationship in general, but it's also because Macy is like incredibly emotionally stunted. Like to the fact where like I really have never felt that a character in my life has so needed therapy. And I understand grief affects people very differently, but when we meet Macy, it's like 3 years really after her mom died. And I'm not saying time erases all wounds. I think that time makes things better. I mean, but I've had people die in my family and in my life, and it doesn't make it better over time, but I feel like you can grow out of some things, but I just feel like she was so emotionally stunted as a person. I don't think it was grief. I think it was just her personality, which I like completely detested. She was so freaking annoying, and she was like so selfish. Like Elliot is giving her his heart on a platter, which is a little much too. Like he was overly lovey-dovey and annoying because he like constantly brought it up and was like, I want to be your boyfriend, blah blah blah, and then she's just consistently turning him down and being awkward and weird and turning away and starting to read again. It just doesn't really make any sense too, because I feel like, I guess if you have like no self-respect, you would continue to put up with something like that. But if someone just continually was like rebuffing my advances, and I would just leave. Like, you're obviously not emotionally mature enough for a relationship, so I'm just gonna give up on you, because I'm not gonna spend my entire life trying to teach you how to love somebody else and just be emotionally available and vulnerable. Like, I'm not saying it's like the easiest thing in the world, but like, especially if you actually truly enjoy other people and they've known each other for years. They've known each other for years. Like, can you just grow the fuck up already? I was so frustrated. I have never been so frustrated reading a book. So frustrated. Like, she would constantly rebuff his advances in terms of like, he wouldn't even like, he was very respectful of her in a lot of ways. And he was trying to talk to her about it and see how she felt about things, and, you know, and she was obviously jealous and didn't want him to be with other girls, and yet she didn't do anything about it. And that every fucking scene was like, oh, I'm envisioning what's behind the buttons on his jeans. What the fuck? It makes no sense. If you actually have that intensive feelings for people, you should be able to express them at least a little bit. It's just, it was so frustrating. These two characters were just boring and annoying and frustrating. And then we go back to the present day timeline. It's so boring. And on top of that, she's again still holding him at arm's length. And then when you find out what happens at the end to like make her not want to talk to him for 11 years, it was, to me, not even his fault. Like, I want to put a spoiler in there, but I think if you really want the spoiler for what happens, just go read my Goodreads review, because I put the spoiler in there. I can't even talk about it, but it makes me very mad because I don't think it was his fault whatsoever. I'm just gonna say I think he was taken advantage of. And she kind of blamed him for things that happened in her life, and I know she had to deal with other stuff after that, but I just felt like it was a poor excuse for an ending, and I never really felt the chemistry between them. I don't know if it's just because she was so emotionally stunted and he was overly giving and affectionate, and he was just like kind of this geek who liked books. Like, he didn't have anything else to him, in my personal opinion. You know, like, he was a geek who liked books. He wasn't very special. And neither was she. Like, I don't really know anything about her other than she was like a doctor. And there was like she worked in pediatrics. Like, we literally got like no hospital scenes, which I know this sounds weird, but like I was really looking forward to some hospital scenes or scenes about her life, but it made it all about the romance, and there was not really a romance. So it was like just frustrating, and the plot was just like boring. Ugh. I'm politely giving it a 2 stars, but I don't know. All in all, go to therapy, kids. So I finished the next book on my list, which was In a Dark, Dark Wood by Ruth Ware. Guess who disappointed me yet again? Ruth Ware. I was actually very excited to get to this book. Number 1, usually her books are really quick reads for me, and even if I don't really particularly like the story, I find them easy and quick to read. This one I had to kind of force myself to read, and I almost DNF'd it. It was so slow. It didn't pick up till like after page 160. And then it was easier to read, but up until then, like, it was really slow with the backstory and like setting the scene. And just so we all know, this is her debut novel that she published in 2015. So it makes sense that she would have the most problems in this novel, and I think that there are actually worse novels she has like written, but I feel like this, I don't know, it just like really missed the mark for me, and I just found it so boring in the beginning. And I usually enjoy her novels because I like how they usually start out. They usually start with a single woman, or, you know, like her having her day and having her coffee, and like I just like kind of like the routine in the beginning for her characters, like going for the run or whatever to make them feel human, and then their lives kind of get disrupted. I do like that, but this book just felt so slow for so long, and it just barely kept my interest. At the end, I just kind of wanted to know if it was between 2 people that I thought it was. You know, unfortunately, this was not spooky or haunting or atmospheric. I feel like some of her later novels at least have more atmosphere in them, and they're like kind of spooky and gothic-y or whatever, but this did not have any of those feels for me at all. I mean, I kept forgetting, I guess they were in a glass house, which could definitely make this a little more like spooky, but it was brought up like twice, so I just didn't think about it. And I think the woods with the snow just was not scary to me. Like, okay, she went through a run through the woods like on the street once. Like, there wasn't anything scary about it. There was nothing scary about the setting. It was just bland, and it just felt like the whole plot was just weird. So we're following Leonora, who goes by Nora, but used to go by Lee because of a mess up, whatever. So she doesn't like the name Lee, but that's how she went. She went by Lee forever. And she likes to be called Nora now. And this girl was invited to a hen party, which for Americans is a bachelorette party. And it's basically a bachelorette weekend in this house. And number 1, all of the weird hen party activities were just weird. Like, they went like shooting, they did like a Ouija board thing. I don't know. I just felt like it was weird. Like, I kind of wish it was more of a traditional hen party. It would have made it make more sense, but it just felt very disjointed from that. And then on top of it, so Nora decided to agree to go, even though she hadn't talked to the fucking bride in 10 years. And it used to be like her old ex-best friend. It was just really weird. I don't know. It did not make sense to me that you would go. I would never go to a bachelorette party for someone, and I wasn't even invited to the wedding. You're not even invited to the wedding. Why would I go to your fucking party? I don't give a shit you're getting married. You didn't even invite me to the wedding. Why do I care? And then you find out who she's getting married to and blah, blah, blah. It just really made no sense. It was very disjointed. I didn't care. I'm just kind of severely disappointed because I was really looking forward to reading this, and I was looking forward to reading a book very quickly, but this took me like 3 days of hard reading. Like, I read this every moment I could. Every piss I took, every minute in between meetings, on a break, I was reading this, and I had to force myself to do it. I just really was more intrigued to read other novels. Like, I kept thinking about other novels I have in my closet to read right now, other than this one. That's how bored I was. I gave it 2 stars. I said 2.5 in my review. I might change it to 2 stars. 2.25? I don't know. I'm just so kind of disappointed. And I know that for Ruth Ware, I've never given her anything above a 3. And I know that her next book I'm going to read, I'm probably going to hate, because everyone seems to hate that book, which is the only one I haven't read. So this was my second to last book of hers that I have not read yet, and I just never want to pick it up again. Would I recommend it? I mean, I guess. I mean, some people might like it. It was just such a typical thriller, but it wasn't even like thrilling. Like, it was very predictable. It wasn't even a fast read for me, which is just a shame, because I feel like her other books I definitely could read quickly, even if they were not my thing. But usually the action was thrilling, or there's a lot of things going on with the plot. I just felt like it was so boring up until way over the halfway mark. And I just feel like books shouldn't be like that. And I know that sometimes books take a minute to get off, but I just didn't care about the backstory. And there was a whole character named Melanie who I felt like was completely disjointed from the story as well. Like, why was she even included? She wasn't even like there at the end. She left halfway through the hen party. And there's something that is revealed about our main character's past, and that's the only reason I think maybe Melanie was included, is because of something that she's dealing with her life presently that she had to leave for. And I wonder if that was like an allusion to what happened between her and this ex guy that she's been hung up on for 10 years. Anyway, I am just really over books right now. Every single freaking book I've read this month has been a 2 or a 3 star, and I am just not happy with that. And I really, really want just like a good 5 star. I just want one so bad. And I'm just so disappointed in this month's findings so far. And I know that this month, like, I didn't plan to read all these books, because what happened was when I finally got to Albuquerque, I went to the library, because I can't ever seem to read any of my freaking books on my bookshelf, because I just can't. Like, it's so hard to do that. I have to really challenge myself to read one, or really want to read it like as soon as I get it. But I just had the feeling to go to the library. I think it just encouraged me to read, because I have to also return them in a timely manner. And so I went to the library, and I just kind of went through some authors that I knew in my head that I liked to read. So even though Ruth Ware isn't like my favorite author, and I don't really always enjoy her books that much, you know, she's an easy read for me usually. So I wanted to read her so I could like get a book like down on my list, because I've been having a hard time reading. So I went to get her, and then I got the Christina Lauren book, because I knew Christina Lauren is an author and wanted to read more from her. Another book I'm reading after this, and I'm planning to, is another author that I kind of know about, and I was looking for another one of his books, but couldn't find it, so I just picked that one up instead. And that's basically how this whole month happened. Is I just like went to the library and picked up a couple books that looked good. So, I mean, I guess it's not really surprising that I haven't really liked that many of them. I think sometimes you just don't get really lucky. And I think the problem is, though, is last year, in the beginning of the year, I had so many 5-star books that encouraged me to read. And since like October, I've read like 1 5-star book. And I don't know if I'm just being extra bitchy or what, but sometimes you just don't connect with books. And it's not even my fault. I feel like it's the writer. Sometimes you just don't connect, or you don't like the stories, or I don't know. I've just not been liking any of these, so I'm just disappointed that I can't even get a good 4-star out of them. Maybe next month. There's a lot of good ones for next month I have coming up, because I got like all those in from the library. I literally have like 8 different books in the library that just all of a sudden came in because I requested them, and they just like flew in, which was unexpected. But those should hopefully have a couple 5 stars. I'm hoping at least a 4 or 5 for a few of them. Like, I think I'm really gonna like, but it's been a rough month for reading. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It's been a rough month, and I've been really fighting it for y'all, because I haven't really made content for you since December. I think that was like, or November, and it was like 1 video. But it's just been rough since moving and trying to get reacquainted and trying to even get back into reading to make a freaking thing for you guys to watch. Because if I'm not talking about books, what am I talking about? I just wish that today went the way I planned, but I was going to film for you some cute stuff. Totally different video. I was gonna film the 21 books I want to read in 2021, but I am just way too tired to commit to that right now because I still have to I have my list of them, but I need to make descriptions and go over it, and there's just a lot of work that goes in behind the scenes to some videos, and that's one of them. And I think my period has just made me so fatigued or something because I just unnaturally around 11:30, right before I had lunch, I can barely keep my eyes open, and I just finished work and it's 4 o'clock and I'm just gonna take a quick little nap after work. It's Friday evening, so we're gonna have some amazing food for dinner. I already know what it is. I'll hopefully show it to you later, but I'm very disappointed in that I didn't get to film earlier, so I at least want to film now because I looked cute. I put on some different makeup today and I felt really happy with it and I liked it, and it's just kind of I don't know. I hate when you look nice and then you don't actually end up going where you don't doing what you want to do. It's very upsetting. So anyway, quick update for you that's relevant. So I'm trying to read How to Stop Time by Matt Haig. I'm gonna try to finish this for the next couple of days because February is on Monday, I think. So I think I only have till Monday to finish this. So I think over the weekend, hopefully I can. I'm just going to force myself to because I usually don't read over the weekend as much, but I'm going to force myself to because I hate making books go between months. I don't know why it bothers me so much. It's literally a month is a contrived time conception thing, but whatever. We had a shitty day, so it means that we're going to have pasta. So I have the spaghetti and meatball, and Tyler got 5 pork bolognese or something like that. And of course, gotta have some wine. I haven't had wine since we moved, but it's happening tonight. Isn't that right, Kalinka? She is completely judging us. The last book that I read in the month of January was How to Stop Time by Matt Haig. And this one didn't slap as much as The Humans did, that's for sure. I think it's also because The Humans had more of a plot. I am giving this book 3 stars on Goodreads, but 2.5 stars for me. I just feel like this really missed the mark, and I was actually pretty excited to read this. I wasn't jumping off the walls or anything, and it looked interesting. It's basically about a 400-year-old man. He's 400 and something odd years old, but he only looks 40-ish. And it's because he has this genetic rare condition that causes him to age slower than everyone else. So basically, after puberty, they stop aging. So every 10 years, they'll age a year. So it's obviously taking him over 400 years to look 40-something, which makes perfect sense. And I really like the idea of this world, but it just was not executed in the way that I would prefer. And my arm hurts, so I'm putting this down now. I think the biggest gripe with this book is that Tom has been pining over his wife, his dead wife Rose, since the 1600s, 1500s, I think it's 1600s, I don't know. And it's modern day, and it's been how many hundreds of years? I just found that incredibly frustrating, and I know it may sound very messed up, but it really bothered me. And I know when I read through other people's reviews as well, they also had the same issue. Okay, it wasn't just me, but I felt a little heartless when I was reading because I just kind of didn't care. I was like, I understand that she's the love of your life and she gave you a daughter, and he's been looking for his daughter his entire life, and that makes sense because his daughter is like him. So naturally she's living longer too if she's still alive, and I understand that motivation, but the fact that he's still pining over her for so many years, I just feel like after that long, your grief would subside a little bit. You never know, grief is different for every person, but 300 plus years seems a little bit long to be pining over someone and wallowing in self-pity. And not to mention, there were so many cliches in this book that it's sickening. The amount of cliches and trying so hard and existentialism is just a little bit frustrating, and it just really missed the mark. Instead of it becoming that kind of a book, I could just feel that it was trying to be deep, and it just was not. It was very surface and substandard for me. I really expected more out of this, and there really wasn't much of a plot. We're just kind of going through all the different time periods with him in his life to explain some of the things he has to do in his modern day. It just doesn't really make any sense. We kind of go around too much, and there's so much name dropping, and it's just because I live in the world of Beyonce does not mean I meet her every day. He met Shakespeare and Charlie Chaplin and all these famous people. So many famous people got to work with them, not just oh, I saw them once. It just felt not real. It was a little hard to suspend your disbelief whenever there's that many name drops and you're meeting that many people. It's just, weird. Like, you're in all the right places at the right time. Like, I think I was trying to show that he was obviously very worldly, but like, we fucking get that. So it just really overkilled it. My other really big gripe is that the ending for me was way too rushed, because the whole rest of the book is like meandering and long and kind of boring at some points. And in the ending, I was like excited to see how it would go, and there was like no dialogue with some things. And then some things happened way too quickly, and I kind of wanted it to be drawn out a little bit. Like, I could have definitely gone without some of the other chapters, and I would have preferred a longer ending that tied it in better. I mean, everything kind of ended well, but it just was so bleh. And the whole plot of this is that he like falls in love again, but there's like no romance with this woman. I don't feel any chemistry. There's no feelings in this book. And I know it's not just me. I know I've had a really bad reading month. All the books have been 2 to 3 stars. And most of them have been like 2.5, you know, and I'm just being nice rounding it up because it wasn't poorly written or something, and I can only give it 1 rating on Goodreads. But I don't know. I definitely would recommend his other book, The Humans, versus this one. It just was not the tea. All right, well, that's all the books that I've read in the month of January, and I'm planning on reading a lot in February, but I currently have like 12 books checked out from the library, and I don't think I'm gonna get to all 12 of those because my library here also only has like a 3-week checkout period, which is what mine used to be, but since the pandemic, my old library used to round it up to 6 weeks, which made it a lot easier in terms of getting a bunch of books and reading some of them later. So we're gonna see how February goes. But shortly you should receive from me a new video about all the 21 books that I wanna read in 2021, because I already have all of them picked out. Most of them have come in from the library. I would say a good like half of them come in from the library, and I'm getting ready to read them starting this month. I'm hoping for at least 1 5-star in February, because I haven't had a 5-star, I think, since October of 2020. And I think that's partly why I'm just struggling to read, is because I'm just not getting books that are 4 or 5 stars and encouraging me to read. Like, all of them are just kind of could take them or leave them. Also, really quickly, I wanted to show off something. My friend Lily back home, I guess this is my new home, but whatever, back in California, she sent me this for my room, and I'm gonna put it basically over there, but I want to get another nightstand first, because currently my black nightstand, my black dresser don't match my like walnut and white desk, and I can't find anything that matches that's not like $180 per nightstand. It just really isn't worth it to me. But thank you so much, Lily. Look at this. It is so cute, and it lights up. So these little strings, they actually light up. So I'm really excited. It was actually the perfect thing that I need over there, because I do love dream catchers. So thank you so much. So I bid you adieu. Thank you so much for watching, and like, subscribe, and join the tribe, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.